Now, I wonder what's in the box today. I wonder. Let's have a look. Here we go. A lovely little crown. My goodness me, what a sweet little crown that one is. Well, that can only mean one thing. Today's story is Nanooshka, Queen of Goats. Well, I think that calls for a celebratory drink, doesn't it? Here we go. Glug, 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 glug. Have any of you ever been scared of anything? Have you ever had to face your fears? Like that king in that story I did a couple of weeks ago. Now, what was he called? Ah, yes, King Frederick Faintheart, who faced the fearsome giant. Well, that's a bit of a tongue twister. Yeah, he had to face his fear, didn't he? Have you ever had to sort of take a deep breath and you finally pop that broccoli into your mouth and think, oh, actually, broccoli's not something to be scared of, is it? Yeah, don't be scared of your vegetables. Broccoli, sweet, lovely. Have you ever thought, oh my goodness me, there's a spider in the bath, there's a spider in the bath, there's a spider in the bath, I wanted to have a bath, but I don't want the poor spider to get wet and drown. So you face your fears, you take a deep breath, you take a piece of paper, you put a glass over it, and oh, you're quite cute, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're very, very cute indeed. And fluffy. Bye. Or have you ever thought, oh, it's the school disco tonight. It's the school disco. Everyone's going to laugh at me when I dance. But then you go there and you dance and you rock. You're like the king or the queen of the dance floor. You rule that dance floor. You face your fears and you've overcome them. Well, today's story, Nanooshka, Queen of Goats, is about a goat who doesn't just face her fears, but she's also, apart from being brave, she's also wise and cunning. And because this is a story about a goat, I think you've guessed it is time to put on the traditional Guatemalan goat herder's hat with bell. And I think one more drink, please, if you don't mind. And let's start. Nanooshka, Queen of Goats. So once there was a flock of goats. Now straight away, I have to question myself. Is it a flock or is it a herd? Herd of goats? Of course I've heard of goats. Let's call it a flock. A flock of goats. Have you ever seen a flock of goats when all the goats are young? They're bonkers, aren't they? They almost try and jump vertically like this. Probably because they might be in a field. You've probably only seen them in a field and not on a mountainside. On a mountainside, they're always going like that. But in a field, they've got nothing to climb on, so they go. It looks like they're trying to take off. It looks like they're trying to fly. Which is probably why they're called a flock of goats and not a herd of goats. Actually, I do believe the real collective noun for goats is actually a trip. Yeah, trip. Trip, trap, who's that trip trapping over my bridge? So, young goats, bonkers. Somersaults, head flips, headstands, you know the whole works. But if they're old goats, they just sit around, well, stand around, chewing sweet leaves, chatting about the old days. And if they could, they'd probably sit down, have a glass of wine and play chess or backgammon, yeah? Or pétanque, or dominoes. Can you just think of that? Oh, wouldn't it be nice to play a game of dominoes right now? Well, in this story and in this flock, there were lots and lots of young goats, but there was only one very old goat. And her name was Old Nanny Nibblebeard. That's me, Old Nanny Nibblebeard. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you, and nice to meet you too. I sound like a little old lady, don't I? He's only got one voice, really. Little old lady. Isn't that right? Afraid it is, yeah. Anyway, Old Nanny Nibblebeard was so old she'd outlived all of her friends. Yeah, she was the only old goat left in this flock, yeah. But she was a bit tired, she was a bit weary. Her knees would ache, her back would ache. And all the young goats, they just wanted to play the whole time. They wanted to play with her. But she would say, "Oh, I'm a bit too old to play with you. You go and make play while the sun shines." Actually, it reminds me a little bit of our two dogs at home. We've got a very old dog and a very young dog. The young dog's only 2 years old, and she's called Lola. But the old dog, she's nearly 16. She's going to be 16 this month. 16 in doggies. That's like crazy old. And the young one is always like running round her in circles saying, "Play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me." She's called Wizzy, the old one. "Play with me, Wizzy, play with me, Wizzy, play with me, Wizzy." "Oh, okay," she says, and then she'll maybe run a little bit, and then she gives up. Well, that was a bit like Old Nanny Nibblebeard. "I'm too old to play with you." All day long they would graze on the hills, or they would eat the sweet grass in the meadow, or they would eat the slightly more wiry grass on the mountain slope. But every evening, when they went back to the pen, as in enclosure, not pen. They didn't write stories, these goats. No. They would go back to the pen, and Old Nanny Nibblebeard would tell them all the story. "Once upon a time." And the favourite of all those little goats, the little young goats, of course, was the 7 little kids and the big bad wolf. Duh, duh, duh. There it is again, that weird sound. Anyway, duh, duh, duh. One day, Old Nanny Nibblebeard got left behind. Yeah, she got left behind on the side of the mountain. Not because she wanted to do some plane spotting or anything like that. No. When the young ones went back to the pen, the poor goat herd had a real job of counting them that day. Because it was almost as if these young goats had had far too many coffees. They were bouncing all over the place. Sometimes they would jump into the pen and jump back out again and doing. So trying to count them in, making sure the right number was in the pen, was extremely difficult. So not surprisingly, Old Nanny Nibblebeard got left behind. But she didn't mind that. She liked the peace. She liked the quiet, she loved the view, the grass was her favourite grass in the whole wide world, and everything seemed pretty good. But she was on the side of a mountain, and it was starting to get a little bit dark. Well, she wasn't scared of the dark, she wasn't scared of being on her own, but she knew it wasn't such a good idea to stay out there, exposed, right through the night, because she knew that there were lions. And tigers, and jackals about, yes. Well, luckily, on the side of the mountain, she saw a cave, and she went into that cave. But, oh dear me, her eyesight, being old, was a little bit dodgy, and her hearing, being old, wasn't so good. And her sense of smell was quite poor. And she didn't realise she had walked into the cave of none other than a terrifying mountain lion. Rah, 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 rah. Well, in she walked, and the lion was asleep, but he, in his sleep, he sniffed. And at first, the lion just thought he was dreaming of goat. Yummy, yummy. But the smell was too real, and he opened one eye, then he opened his other eye, and he saw Old Nanny Nibblebeard right at the entrance of the cave, and he let out a huge "Roar!" Well, old Nanny Nibblebeard realised the worst thing she could do was to show any kind of fear whatsoever. So she put on her most serious look and she walked directly up to the lion and stared in the lion's eyes and said, "Oh, it must be my lucky day to find you here." Well, the lion had never in his life been spoken to like that. All the other animals were terrified of him, even the proud tigers, even the ferocious jackals. He was confused. "What? Don't you know who I am? I am the lion, the king of all animals. Who are you and what are you doing in my cave? This is my cave." Well, old Nanny Nibblebeard showed no signs of fear at all, stared him right in the eyes and spoke to him in a very, very sombre voice. "I am Nanooshka, Queen of Goats, and I have, what do you call it, you youngsters? I have, oh yes, that's it. I have a bucket list." "What is a bucket list?" questioned the lion. "Well, a bucket list is something you wish to do before you die. And what I would like to do before I die is I'd like to eat 100 tigers, 50 elephants, and 25 lions. I've eaten all the tigers, I've eaten all the elephants, and I decided today I should start on the lions. And since you are here right now, I think I'll start with you." Well, this goat spoke with such confidence that it really confused the lion. Never in his life had he been spoken to like that by any other animal, especially a goat. He panicked, but luckily the lion was a quick thinker as well. Listen, Nanooshka, Queen of Goats, I know this is my last day on this earth, but I was wondering if I might just have one last visit to my favourite place in the world, the cute little stream just down at the bottom of this mountain. Let me have one last drink in my favourite spot, and then I'll let you eat me." "Okay, I know I'm hungry, but I'm certainly not a monster. So go and get your drink, have your last request, but come back as quickly as you can, you naughty, naughty boy." Well, the lion had absolutely no intention of seeing out his last request. Yeah. He thought he had dodged a bullet. Phew! He went down to the stream, but then he went past the stream. He had no idea, no intention of stopping at all. He just ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. Well, old Nanny Nibblebeard, she thought, "Oh, this is quite nice. This cave seems quite cosy. I think I'll stay the night here." And she settled down, but wasn't able to get to sleep straight away. I think the adrenaline was still pumping through her body. Anyway, back to the lion. There he was, running down the mountainside, past the stream, trying to get away from Nanooshka, Queen of Goats, that evil, evil monster, he thought, as fast as she could, when he bumped into a jackal. "Oh, what are you doing there, me old mucker? Hey, what are you doing bumping into me? Honestly, oh my goodness me. Lion, you look terrified, you do. You look absolutely terrified. Your hair's all standing on end and stuff." Well, the lion was absolutely scared, and his hair was sticking up like this. Oh, Jackal, 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 you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. It was the most terrifying thing. I saw a goat. A goat! A goat, I say! And her horns were so sharp, her hooves looked so hoof-like, her eyes were terrifying, they were terrifying. She said she was Nanooshka, Queen of Goats, and she had a bucket list. What's a bucket list, me old mucker? A bucket list is where you want to fulfill something before you die. And on her bucket list, she said she wanted to eat 100 tigers, 50 elephants, and 25 lions. She'd already eaten the tigers, she'd already eaten the elephants, and she wanted to start on the lions today, or rather this very, very night. Said the jackal. I know, sorry, my jackal sounds a bit like a hyena, doesn't it? And hyenas are quite famous for their laugh. Like that. And you're probably thinking, what's the difference? What's the difference, Mr. Storyteller Man? What's the difference between a jackal and a hyena? I'll tell you, I'm glad you asked. Well, the jackal belongs to the dog family, the genus Canis, whereas the hyena actually belongs to the family Hyaenidae, the fifth smallest biological family of all carnivores. Okay, got that cleared. Back to his laugh. Mine does sound a bit more like a hyena though. Oh, you've been done big time. You've been had. Oh, me old mucker, you've been done completely. She's pulling your leg. She really is. She's tangling your mane. Oh my goodness me. Nanooshka, Queen of Goats. There's no such thing. And I'll tell you something, all this talk of goats, you know, me old mucker, is making me just a little bit peckish. Just a little bit peckish. What do you say, you and me go back to that cave and we eat her? You can eat the front end and I'll eat the back end. Oh, I really don't care. I'm not fussy like that. I'm a hyena. I'm not a hyena. I'm a jackal. I'll eat practically anything. Yeah, apart from Marmite. Don't really like Marmite or blancmange or Marmite flavoured blancmange. But apart from those things, I'll eat anything because I'm a jackal. All right, me old mucker? Well, the lion wasn't sure if this was a good idea. He really, really was rather scared of that goat. But he had the jackal with him, and they both went towards that cave. But the lion's heart was beating so loudly. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Have you ever heard a lion's heart beat? Yeah. Richard the Lionheart. Oh my goodness me, you never ever wanted to sit next to Richard the Lionheart. You would be deafened by his heart. Ba-boom, ba-boom. And as they got close to the cave, the jackal started to get a little bit nervous as well. Oh, me old mucker, what if you're right? What if she really is Nanooshka, Queen of the Goats? And his heart began to beat as well. Biddy, 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 but not in the same time as the lion's. And between the two of them, boom, biddy, boom, biddy, boom, biddy, boom, biddy, boom, biddy, as they got closer and closer and closer to the cave. Boom, biddy, boom, biddy, boom, biddy, boom, biddy. Well, when they entered the cave, old Nanny Nibblebeard, she wasn't yet asleep. And she had to think super quick, super quick, super quick. I know! An idea came to her. She just stared at the jackal and she put on her angriest face she could possibly do. How dare you, jackal? When I saw you just a moment ago, I asked you to bring me 25 lions. 25! 25! Can't you count? And you dare to come back with just one. Just one lion. Where are the other 24? I'm hungry. I'm hungry. In fact, I'm so hungry, I'm going to have to eat both you and the lion right now. Wow. The lion, even though he was terrified of Nanooshka, Queen of Goats, he was furious with the jackal. He thought the jackal had tried to trick him into coming back into the cave. So he snarled with his teeth and he sharpened his claws and he leapt at the jackal, about to bite him. But the jackal was quick, and the jackal ran out of the cave as fast as he could with the lion chasing behind him. "Oh, peace at last," said old Nanny Nibblebeard. "Peace at last." And she had a really, really good night's sleep. And in the morning, when the young goats came to graze on that mountainside, she came out of the cave and she joined them. And do you know what? She played with the goats all day long. And in the evening, she told them her story, the story about the lion and the jackal and the tigers and the elephants and the cave. And they listened and they loved it, and it became their favourite story. And their second favourite story, of course, was still the 7 little kids and the big bad wolf. But they loved that story. And from that day on, they didn't call her old Nanny Nibblebeard anymore. No, they called her Nanooshka Nimblenees, Queen of Goats. Thanks for listening. So, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, look after each other. TTFN. Bye. Bye. Bye.